Wow, you have no idea how good it feels to look out over this packed stadium. You would think this is an NCAA final basketball game or something. It's just wonderful. And to see all these new faces and new members of the National Academy of Engineering fills me with a lot of optimism. Thank you, Don, for emphasizing the role of service expected of members of the NAE. I share your optimism for the future because the engineering profession has adopted a culture of service. To quote NAE Vice President Wes Harris, we will do great things and we will do good things for the betterment of society. Engineers must be socially responsible in their work and also professionals who see the glass half full, not half empty. What initially started as the National Academy of Academy of Sciences in 1863 by an act of Congress signed by Abraham Lincoln has since grown to include the National Research Council, formed in 1916, the National Academy of Engineering, formed in 1964, and the National Academy of Medicine in 1970. Today we are known as the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine, or simply the National Academies. Our name has changed to better reflect the breadth of our focus areas. However, the core of our mission remains the same. The Academy shall, whenever called upon by government, investigate, examine, and report upon any subject of science or art, and art in those days meant engineering. With the changing times, the National Academies has expanded its role. While we exist to provide independent, nonpartisan technical advice to the government and public, as Don has mentioned, we also promote the advancement of science, engineering, and medicine, and catalyze innovation to the benefit of society. Through a variety of efforts, the National Academies encourages education and research, recognizes outstanding contributions that benefit society, and promotes public understanding of science, engineering, and medicine. There are 7 program units previously referred to as the National Research Council that serve as the operating arms of the National Academies. Through the leadership of these divisions and the volunteers, you and others, who provide their time and expertise, the National Academies is the trusted voice of evidence-based studies, reports and discussions that address the science, engineering, technology, medicine, and policy issues of the day. The depth of knowledge and diverse perspectives that you, our members, bring to the table make reports and studies from the National Academies the gold standard. The convening power of the National Academies to bring together the best minds in sciences, engineering, and medicine is our most important asset, as Don asserted. Many of you took part in the Big Picture Expo yesterday and became familiar with activities of the NAE and the National Academies. I hope you discovered opportunities to engage in the work of the National Academies. In 2022, 54% of our members and 25% of our international members participated in activities of the National Academies generally and the NAE specifically by lending their expertise to reports and by taking an active role in our member elections. Induction into the NAE is a commencement. It's like in a university in a sense. It's the beginning of important service to the nation and to the engineering profession. You are also role models for other engineers, especially younger ones. The founding members of the NAE, pictured here at the first annual meeting of the NAE in 1965, were giants in their field. Of the original 25 founding members, 15 are pictured here. 52% of the first 25 represented business and industry. 36% represented academe, and 12% worked in national laboratories or the military. I have circled Fred Terman in the photo. He was the Dean of Engineering and then Provost at Stanford in 1964. Terman was a mentor to 2 former NAE members, Hewlett and Packard, and you know that as HP fame. He did his PhD at MIT, Dr. Terman did, under the supervision of Vannevar Bush, an electrical engineer who was the leading advocate for the formation of the National Science Foundation and author of the well-known 1945 report, Science, the Endless Frontier. A hallmark of the NAE is the significant representation of members from industry who bring expertise and perspectives about combining scale and costs not found in an academic environment. Of the three academies, the NAE is the only one with a significant membership from industry. That is a uniqueness. The inclusion is very important. Business and industry are central to innovation and the application of engineering principles. The voices of both business and academia are crucial if we are to provide sound advice to the government and public about technology and issues that can and should be addressed by engineering. What is missing in this photo is diversity. Diversity of gender, diversity of race and ethnicity, which would bring a variety of perspectives that enhance the creativity of engineering. And of course, the dress code is remarkably uniform. This was the beginning of the NAE. Now let's forward to the present. Quite a difference. The members and international members of the class of 2023 are representative of the United States and the world today. You bring knowledge, experiences, and perspectives that are unique to your backgrounds and of great value to the engineering profession. To quote Theodore von Karman, the first recipient of the Medal of Science and an aeronautical engineer, engineers create what never has been. And the word create is important. Creativity and diversity are very closely linked. The NAE membership today better reflects our population and values. We aim to increase representation from industry and among women and minority populations and include outstanding engineers in both established and emerging technologies. One fact that jumps out at me is that 46% of our new members are naturalized U.S. citizens. We are proud of this result and its recognition of the value of immigrants to the health and vitality of our country in the past and in the future. Today, with 2,370 U.S. members and 314 international members, the NAE embraces another chapter of reaching for new frontiers of innovation to address pressing challenges nationally and globally. In 2021, the NAE leadership revisited its direction. With input from members and staff, we developed a new strategic plan to provide insights, leadership, and direction with a focus on people, systems, and culture. Our commitment to the nation, our profession, our members is prioritized in the 4 I's. Identify and inform the frontiers of engineering theory, practice, and education. Increase engineering talent through a strong commitment to diversity and inclusion. Instill a culture of ethical and environmental responsibility in engineering. And improve capabilities and competencies for dealing with complex systems. I will now highlight several activities that show a sampling of the work that NAE is involved in. Climate change and its potential impacts represents a pressing global issue. Scientists have done a great job of determining what is and what is happening and what must be done. However, engineers must develop the how in the equation. The NAE's President's Business Advisory Committee took the lead and produced a series of papers on engineering the energy transition towards net zero carbon emissions. These papers were published in the summer 2023 issue of The Bridge, a quarterly publication of the NAE that can be downloaded from our website. The articles in this issue focus on the how to achieve a net zero carbon energy ecosystem. They address many topics from electrification of manufacturing processes to the electric grid and severe resiliency events. I encourage you to look at this publication. One of NRC's most recently released reports, Laying the Foundation for New and Advanced Nuclear Reactors in the United States, reviews the role that nuclear reactors can play in decarbonization of our energy ecosystem and the key challenges that must be overcome at the technical and economic and regulatory levels. Both engineering the energy transition and laying the foundation for new and advanced nuclear reactors showcase NAE's efforts to keep a spotlight on energy and sustainability, which are top issues of today and will remain so for some time in the future. One of our headline programs is the Granger Foundation Frontiers of Engineering Conferences, which bring together a select group of young, now to the audience of the NAE, young is defined as under 45, emerging engineering leaders from industry, academia, and government labs to discuss pioneer technical work and leading edge research in various engineering fields and industry sectors. These conferences are held annually in the U.S., but also include additional bilateral events with the European Union, Germany, Japan, and China, and in alternate years. I note that 161 Frontiers of Engineering alumni have been elected to the NAE after their participation. That is 10% of all NAE members elected since 2003. The participants are a very talented group of young engineers. So I'm going to ask all NAE members who participated from all years in Frontiers of Engineering to please stand so we can see the importance of this program. The Frontiers of Engineering program has had a large impact not only in the NAE but also on our academic and industrial enterprises. We are proud of the program and its participants. For more than 20 years, the NAE's Engineer Girl website has inspired young women and girls to become engineers. Since its inception as a website, Engineer Girl has grown into a program that includes chats with mentors, a writing contest, and an ambassadors program, which engages high school students in developing engineering activities for middle school students in their community. Earlier this year, Engineer Girl was recognized by the National Science Board, which oversees the National Science Foundation, with its 2023 Science and Society Award for extraordinary efforts to increase participation and diversity in the sciences and engineering fields. We are very proud of Engineer Girl. Plans are underway to expand this program offerings to include underrepresented groups as well. We need to reach tomorrow's students today. We need to introduce them to engineering in all its facets. You saw the video, which that video was for the younger folks in our communities. And we need to encourage students to pursue a career in engineering if we are to keep pace with the increased need of future engineers. We must also reach the public in general and convey the importance of engineering to their daily lives. The word engineering often gets lost when we talk about science and technology. We must consistently push the word engineering back into the conversation if we are to raise awareness. Last spring, NAE created Calling All Big Thinkers public service campaign, launching nationwide. These 60 and 30-second public service announcements showcase the many facets of engineering in an upbeat and motivating way. In addition, NAE, in collaboration with the University of Southern California's Viterbi School of Engineering, launched The Circuit. This social media-based news show highlights current engineers and engineering students working on real-world problems and making innovative advances in creating cutting-edge technological solutions. Weekly episodes are posted each Thursday on all major social media channels, and we highlight them on our website. The Circuit is playing on the monitor in the Great Hall throughout the annual meeting. If you haven't viewed recent episodes, I encourage you to do so. The Calling All Big Thinkers campaign videos and the Circuit episodes can be viewed from the NAE YouTube channel. That might be a shock to some of you. We have a YouTube channel. Be sure to share them with your colleagues, students, and social networks. Engage with us and spread the word about engineering. We got to get the big E back in. It is important to point out that the national academies are not part of the government, as Don has noted, and this is by design. This ensures that the essential work that we do remains objective and credible. One result of this independence is our dependence on philanthropy. About 64% of the NAE's operating budget derives from past and current donations by our members, foundations, corporations, and other partners. Your leadership, now more than ever, is critical to the success of efforts to advance the NAE to an even higher level. The Campaign for Leadership in a World of Accelerating Change seeks to support effective, action-oriented activities that enable and empower the NAE to be the trusted source of engineering advice for creating a healthier, more secure, and more sustainable world. Yes, the world is changing, and yes, engineers have a leadership role to play, and yes, we can and will lead the change. I would like to thank the NAE staff who make our organization work so well. I'm going to just comment on last night. Those of you that had that dinner, you saw what our staff can do. It was fantastic, and they deserve a great, I think they deserve a great round of applause. Thank you. It is a wonderful group of individuals, and they make good things happen, and we owe them a lot. Thank you. Also, thank you to the remarkable officers and counselors who govern the NAE. They serve the organization with integrity and dedication. Recognizing the work of so many reminds me of a quote by Helen Keller: "Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much." With that in mind, I ask the family members of today's inductees to please stand so we can thank you for the support of our new NAE members. Your patience, love, and support played a large part in the lives of our inductees, and we are very grateful to you. Before we begin the induction ceremony, I want to briefly address a question that I know is on everybody's mind, and that is, what is the difference between a scientist and an engineer? To answer this important question, I thought of a story told to me by a friend. A scientist and engineer went hiking in the mountains one day. At the end of the day, they pitched their tent, enjoyed dinner, and went to sleep. After a few hours, the engineer wakes the scientist and says, "Look toward the sky. What do you see?" The scientist replies, "I see millions of stars." The engineer says, "What does that tell you?" The scientist says, "Astronomically speaking, it tells me there are millions of galaxies and potentially billions of planets. Astrologically, it tells me that Regulus is in Leo. Time-wise, it tells me it's approximately 3:30 in the morning. Weather-wise, it seems we're going to have a beautiful day tomorrow." Then the scientist turns to the engineer and says, "What does it tell you?" And the engineer replies, "Somebody stole our tent."